the through disruption policy, and as well the no AV recording policy. And for the question and answer period, I'm going to be keeping an equity speakers list, so giving priority to women, people of color, and other equity speaking groups. And I'm just going to ask that you keep your comments to about 1 minute, and then at that point I'll ask you your questions. And I'm just going to take 3 questions at a time, if that's okay, with the speakers, and then pass them on. So put your hands up if you have a question.
Hands up.
Time to, and is there a third? Let's start with those 2. If you'd like to go ahead.
Maybe it's just to expand on something that was kind of mentioned, I think, during the last presentation, but it's like in terms of like action, in terms of, so there's a call out for divestment. If you guys can talk about if there has already been any movement on that in terms of any of the groups on campus endorsing the divestment, and if not, like what does it look like to start to build pressure on the administration? Like, do we need to talk about governance on campus, like how these decisions are made? And actually, like I know the last thing was like a general kind of transparent process, right? And then also, or is there also supposed to be an emphasis on like building autonomous sites of power on campus? Like, so does that involve like targeting departments? Like, I know John is in the film department, or somebody else could be in political science. To target those departments to take positions and I guess the last thing is, and of course like student groups, but then is it to limit to the call that is here? Because I know that the call that came out of Palestine is broader than the specific call that I've asked from these companies, right? So should the emphasis be on supporting this specific call, or if there is a desire to kind of build autonomous sites of power, should it be also to respond to that larger call, right, of academic and cultural boycott?
Hello everyone, my name is Khaled, and I have a couple of questions. Maybe the first one is for the professor. Do you think that the strength of Israel is related to the support that it had from Canada or from Western countries in general, or from the nuclear weapons that it had? Or I think that it's not related to that particularly, because I think that culture had a great impact in that kind of struggle. And I remember 2 years ago when I come here to Canada, I see at least 3 movies dealing with what happened in the Second World War about the Jews. That of course we condemn it, but I think such kind of movies will bring such like a kind of legitimacy of what happened in Palestine today. So my question here is for you, Professor, is what must we do to create a new generation of directors who will defend the Palestinian struggle? And my third question, rapidly, about what happened now in the Arab world, about this movement of awakening. I remember after Tunisia, Egypt, people start to say free Palestine. So what do you think that this movement will have an impact on Palestinians and on the Israeli forces in general in the region? So that's all. Thank you.
I think we'll start with those 2 since there are multiple.
Okay, so you had asked if other groups at York have, I think, endorsed our campaign. Just tonight is our first night launching the campaign, so we're hoping that that now that we've launched this campaign, anyone here from any other student groups will sign on to the BDS campaign and put pressure on York to divest from the following companies that we listed. In regards to focusing on divestment, the boycott, divestment sanctions are not exclusive from each other. So we do also endorse the academic boycott, consumer and cultural boycott as a part of BDS. They all go together. The sanctions part is something that we would like to put pressure on our government to do. We don't currently have a friendly government that would put sanctions on Israel, but that's the ultimate goal of BDS.
Thanks for the questions. And the point you made is very important. I emphasize just one thing in the talk, sort of the geo-economic reasons why the United States and Canada are invested in the Middle East, literally invested, because it's a very important region economically. But you've raised a very important, big political issue. It's huge. The unresolved issues from World War II. The problems, the horrors of World War II were European. This is a key point. Fascism was a European problem. Nazism was a European problem. It was a German and a Polish and a French problem. But by deflecting it towards Palestine, they were able to avoid dealing with the problem in Europe. And the issue of, and that's the context in which we have to see the creation of the State of Israel and Zionism. It actually is a barrier to dealing with the horrible issues that occurred in Poland, in Germany, throughout Europe in World War II. And that, while you were speaking, it reminded me of something that I forgot to mention in the talk. It's a very important notion in this, that to see that Zionism is not a religion. Zionism is a political ideology that is open to, like any political ideology, like liberalism, like socialism, like conservatism. You can debate. I'm for or against liberalism, I'm for or against socialism, I'm for or against Zionism. It's a very important thing there. In terms of the movement, the impact of the movement in Palestine is a potential direct connection between Egypt and Gaza. There's a movement that began, I don't know what's happened to it, that said bring Tahrir Square to Gaza. It said we occupied Tahrir Square until it was open, let's go to the border with Gaza and open the border. The political one is equally important. Israel has maintained forever that it's the only democracy in the Middle East. It's not true. I mean, we've talked about this, it's not true. It's not a democracy. When you deny, maybe, I won't go into it. But if that ends, as Egypt and Tunisia and the rest of North Africa emerge into democratic movements, this removes a huge part of the political legitimacy of the State of Israel. One little tiny thing about the divestment campaign. Thank you for launching it. This is fantastic. It's such an important tool. Because what it does is it allows us to change the topic. People say, you're anti-Semitic, this, and this. You say, what about cluster bombs? What about F-16s? What about Apache helicopters? What about our university profiting from this? What do you think? And suddenly it opens the door to the, it's not the whole door. The whole door is boycott, divestment, sanctions, all the things, the whole, etc. But it's a way into the debate, and we can take it everywhere. You can take petitions to classrooms, you can go to union meetings, you can go to cultural associations, you can raise it everywhere, on anywhere, in fact, everywhere. It's a good way to begin a discussion with people who otherwise, it would be hard to get the discussion with. It's a fantastic step forward for the movement.
The question was, what's up with the new generation of directors in relationship to BDS? 4 very quick answers. Number 1, Monday afternoon, I don't know if any of you made it to the AGYU, the Art Gallery of York, for an extraordinary live Skype with a new generation of filmmakers in Jenin refugee camp. Their films were shown, they were in dialogue with the group that was gathered, just this extraordinary moment, and there's efforts to bring those films to Toronto Palestinian Film Festival later this year. So solidarity with Palestinian filmmakers is hugely important, and I think that ties in directly to the flotilla, getting cameras and computers on the boat so that Gaza too has the ability to make films. I think second, obviously getting filmmakers, especially new generation of filmmakers, but all filmmakers, to follow the real leadership of Ken Loach and others in terms of joining BDS, refusing to participate in any festival that takes money from the Israeli state. Tied to that is a work we can all do, which is really get out the word that cultural boycott doesn't equal censorship. That's something that's, I think even us within the movement sometimes collapse and think, oh well, it's the price we have to pay because the cause is so important. In fact,